Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the importance of understanding timeline shifting. This is super important because if you understand how reality construct is arranging timelines, you will go bonkers. For real, you will go bonkers and you will not believe what kind of opportunity to create you have here. You actually have an infinite freaking potential to create here. Your creativity is infinite. It's truly infinite. You can do whatever you ever saw on earth. People on earth made some glorious things, and each of us is endowed with the same capacity to create. Now, before you become a wizard and you learn how the reality architecture works, you might fall in different mental traps because the paradigm that is taught to us about what reality is and how it works is not really complete. And I mean, what you're usually seeing, how people talk about reality, how in school, on television, this kind of stuff. All right. So I'm going to read my introduction here that I'm just getting into practice with. Hey guys, I'm Jovan. Welcome to Avatar Academy. This channel is all about helping you access your highest potential by mastering the art of reality creation, self-mastery, and effortless living. Whether you're here to understand the true nature of your being, align your business with flow, or tap into quantum creation, you're in the right place. I'll guide you through different stages of transformation, from differentiating your transcendent self from your ego to building a conscious business without burnout and unlocking limitless creation. That's what we're about. Each video offers tools, insights, and practices that will help you shift your mindset, achieve your goals, and ultimately live a life by design. There we go. Now, timelines. How do they work? Guys, I'm going to tell you how this thing perplexed me throughout my own experience. So, first of all, I did a lot of meditation. And your life gets really, really in tune and harmonious. My life right now is pretty human, is pretty chaotic, is not that harmonious and magical as before when I used to meditate consistently. But it's still alive, and you know what I found out when I was meditating consistently still works for me. So yeah, I just have more information to process, more real life experience, more choices, and things are a little bit more hectic now than when what they used to be. But also life is richer, I'd say, that I'm actually living my first person immersion, going around, licking, touching, smelling, interacting, talking with everybody. So what I saw as a byproduct of my meditation and what this reality revealed to me was that at any given time, you're experiencing a timeline, and you may have heard about this, like there are parallel realities. But really, it's like a TV show, like you're watching your Netflix, and there's an image on the screen, and there is a script, and the show is pre recorded, and it goes and it develops in a certain way. However, what if you had like a little knob, like a little wheel, that you may intensify? Let's say the show is going. See, we don't have TV shows like this yet. This is more of a video game or interactive reality. However, what if you were watching a Netflix show and you had this knob? The show goes, and they're preset things that are going to happen because it's already recorded. But if you switch the knob, it intensifies. Let's say that you have one knob, it says comedy, and on the other side, romance. And then if you turn up the romantic knob, it starts to get sensual, it starts to get like X-rated. And if you turn it to comedy, like the same characters, let's say you're watching some type of show that you already have an expectation how it goes. So something that everybody watches, maybe like Friends or Sex and the City or Seinfeld. But what if you turn the knob and the Seinfeld gets overly romantic? And then you had this other knob and you could go into like thriller, like horror thriller. And so you have all these knobs. And now you're watching Sex and the City and you're turning like the business knob, and Samantha, Carrie, and the other guys from girls from Sex and the City, they start to go into like business conversations. You see? Or what if you're turning this other knob and Samantha, Carrie, and other girls, they start to go into like one of these series that happen in the courtroom and with lawyers, and there's always like some case they're working on and they're troubleshooting some legal issues, and all of a sudden like Samantha, Carey, and the gang are having like legal conversations. So when we think about life, we think that life is following some kind of script that is one-dimensional. This is who I am. I reference that based on my yesterday, and I reference my life based on my story. And then my family, my colleagues, my other peoples, my co-actors are kind of giving a consistent theme because I'm always referencing with all of my knobs, all of these scroll wheels presetted how they were. Why? Because the knobs are somewhere in the subconscious. They're not seen. Like you wake up, you see people, they tell you about the things that are happening in the world and what has happened yesterday and what are your plans for tomorrow. And this go for your spouses, for your parents, for your colleagues, for your friends, and you're in a team. You're in a team. Now, because you don't see these knobs, because they're metaphysical, it never occurs to you that you can just shift the frequency bandwidth of this movie that is playing, and the Shivito TV show, Shivito TV show. I love it. It starts to shape itself into a completely different direction. Okay? To be honest and totally fair, brutally fair, we actually do know that we can make choices. So instead of planning our trip to Copenhagen this weekend, we can decide to go to Paris. Okay? And maybe we're not going to invest this money that we have. We wanted to purchase another summer house, but we maybe want to go and get a mountain cabin. And yeah, these choices will shift your future timeline and you will get yourself to a different experience. So we're planning and choosing and changing our minds, and we do have free will. However, the extent to which you can shift the knobs of reality is literally, let me just give you an example. You can have somebody who's really sick, like terminally sick, and you can turn that reality into completely healed, and you can do it from this metaphysical standpoint. This does not take any time. You can just turn the knob all the way to healthy, and that person goes healthy. And that can happen like the timeline reloads. And all of a sudden, there's no memory, even there's no storyline of anything being wrong. You would call that miracle healing. So I witnessed a couple of these in my movie here, and I was like, whoa, whoa. And this is where I decided to really talk about this stuff with everybody, because I thought, well, this is fresh, because we all go to doctors and then, take pills, and then sometimes we get better, but then maybe, there are some interdependent problems that overlap, and it's just this not, it's not a paradigm where you can turn the button. And I'll explain then what I found out. Why is this not super easy for everybody to turn these buttons? First of all, the buttons are not visible. So many people just notice the physical reality. And even the doctors and the whole scientific world, they notice the physical reality. You have to go and become a little bit spiritual to actually look what's going on in the something that's not rendered physically. But we're all there. We're using emotions, we're using thought forms, we're using vocalization. So all of these things are not physical, but we just tend to orient our eyes and our minds to those things that are. And then that takes most of our attention. And this is how we plan to navigate the physical world. Okay, so this paradigm that I'm explaining, quantum shifting, you can disregard the physical. The physical will actually also change. Now, what has also been shown to me, and guys, I will tell you, and this is that, like, you see here a room full of things, but from the computer that organizes this reality, or the metaphysical mind, you can call it higher mind or subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it. At my other videos, I go into details and explain all of this stuff. But what was shown to me is that you could turn a specific knob, and then like this light, the chandelier in this room can change into a different chandelier. And then a different one, a different one, a different one, a different one, a different one. Just by turning the knob. And at that point, I'm not seeing this reality as my room. I'm seeing it as a computer renderer. So I don't know if maybe some of you out there is an architect, and you work in a software, a 3D software, where you can put in different chairs and chandeliers into this 3D model, and then you press render and you get a different rendering, and then the client comes and says, well, let's put something different, and you simply change the position of that object in your console, in your program. So this is what we know from our computers. This is how we can build video game environments, okay? By opening up a 3D software or map editor, and then, putting stuff around. This is how kids play Minecraft. You go inside and you put things around. And then it becomes an environment. Other people can come into that environment and play inside of that environment. Now, there is a little bit of a difference. Let's say Minecraft, probably. Like, I didn't play Minecraft, but from other video games, I can assume that there is a mode that is called map editor. And then there is a mode where it's just called a server, and that map has already been presented in a way that is consecrated, and other people just come into that map to play. Now they can mine and they can physically build, but somebody pre-built the map. So most of us, we are here playing in the map. And because we are playing, we are referencing the map as reality. You see? And because it works for us to just play around, we don't necessarily go into the map editor mode or metaphysical knobs to shift timelines or change realities. However, it is in everybody's capacity to freaking do so if you wish to do so, or if you need to do so. So I will share another example, and then this will be it. I just wanted to prompt your awareness that this freaking exists. I'm also just playing in the map. And I take physical reality for granted because then I can sit in a chair and, chair does not have to change shape or form. And mostly my objects stay idle or in the shape that they are prescribed to appear in the screen of reality. And I'm playing in this virtual reality. And sometimes I'm thinking about shifting something, I'm making different choices, and reality shifts. And I do this, like I streamline different information and I program my reality however I want it to be, and reality changes. Okay, so I'm manifesting, I'm even architecturalizing my reality or my timelines based on what I say to this universe, what I want. And it does manifest what I say, what I specifically explain. Mostly what is hindering my manifestation is that I have so many choices and I really like how everything is already. So I'm taking my time to make my choices, and then when I choose something, then I can go to Copenhagen or I can go to Paris, or I can stay here, right? So every choice has interdependent layers, and we're multitasking, multi-dimensional beings. So we might just enjoy what we already have and no need to change anything. It's already good as it is. Your level of enjoyment can be the same whether you live in a castle or even, like, let's not say if you're homeless, but basically you have a uh, basic things covered. You're not cold, and there are friends there. You can just be jamming in a garage, or you can be jamming in a castle. The quality of experience does not actually need to, like, you can be very excited and you can enjoy your time. Yeah, so circumstances might not matter as much, but sometimes we just have this angle where we desire something and we want to create something and we want to specifically mood board or curate something how we want it to look like. And then sometimes I get overwhelmed by circumstances. So this happened to me through in the time where I was still realizing how this works. I would get overwhelmed and kind of pissed with my circumstances. To be honest with you, like I'd be like, I can't stand this anymore. And then whenever I get actually angry about how things are not working, I would spontaneously do this, like, F you, God, you need to change this into this. And specifically, my frustration would lead me into instantly yelling out what I dislike and what I want instead. Like, I would get this huge passion and I would yell it at God in a literal F you type of way. Like, I can't stand this, like, I need this instead. Immediately, I would get the timeline to update, a reality construct to update what was appearing in my reality. Even change the physical, like, map, change the storyline that's happening, change the script. People in my proximity, like family members, friends, I shift into, there's no congruency, there's no linear story between what this person was saying yesterday and for the 20 years that I have known them since. And since I yelled that I'm tired of that and I want to change into this, and this, I'm meeting with that person that I've known for 20 years or multiple peoples or physical circumstance, and they're appearing in this new way. And the story, and you notice discontinuity in the story. This is how you notice the quantum shift. The story that, and then I'm even like seeing music videos that I've seen numerous times, and the song has changed, and like the scenes in the video have changed in a way that affects me so much because what I actually called forth is now reflected in that music video that I've seen hundreds times before, and I know the song, like I memorized the song, and now I notice the glitch or discontinuity. And so I see the timeline has shifted. So this goes to say that the remote control or the knobs that change things, they're unseen. And the unseen we can just abstractly call God. We can say it is the superconscious Nintendo Wii or something, Xbox, I don't know, something like a render that's rendering our simulation. You can call it vaguely God. You can call it my bro Jesus, like change the channels. It works in whatever way you need to speak. And you need to have a unified voice, because if you're thinking that you want to manifest, but parts of you are not certain, then the only thing that is not creating that change is basically you're still gauging the choice and the interdependent what ifs and the how to's. And so we are mood boarding in a very, so we might be saying like, I want to have $1 million now. That could be so great and amazing. So that's not the same as, like, once you have the why and you know what, and you scream that into the universe, loads. That's what I discovered, and that perplexed me for quite a while. And then I started to, meditate even more and just be like, hey, how does this work? And then I started to see timelines and how they're constructed, and chandeliers changing, and people and scripts changing. And I realized, oh, we are in a Netflix, but this Netflix is not pre-recorded. I mean, we are in a TV show. Every day you wake up, it's a new episode. But the continuity of that script writing drama, okay, the continuity of that drama simply follows your feedback loop. So it can give you a linear storytelling experience. And so by default settings, it's not going to change your chandeliers. But once you normalize this, once you default this, and the more you experience it, you don't need story. You start to also jam with the production. You'd be like calling Netflix, screaming at God, screaming at Jesus, screaming at, hey, Netflix, get this update into this timeline now. And you know why you can do that? Why you actually have the power to manifest? Because on a very, the most expanded level, this whole thing is source, which is one unified consciousness energy space. It's called source. And right here, it's that same thing is just built into so many different TV shows that even converge. Like our reality is a multiplayer arena. Okay, everybody have their own movie, and we're converging our movies. So it's super entertainment, but you are at the same time source. Okay, you're what's called God, source, whatever, right? So you are that. Like Jesus, I am one with my Father. So you can create as one with God, and actually source is like, yeah, let's have everything. So it does not speak because it's just unified field of consciousness, energy, space, but it just goes, bzzz, let's expand into everything, okay? But then to profile everything into something, it has to become human in order to have free will and choice. So source needs you as an individual ray of consciousness to drive the mood boarding, the choosing. And you as an individual need that to actually work reality from the vertical level, not only horizontal level, if that makes sense. Right? You can call in something. You can call it forth. Okay, so manifestation does not happen because I am Jovan, and I'm screaming at reality, at a wall, I don't want you, I don't want this wall to be here. Or I'm screaming to other people, at other people, you guys need to change the way you talk to me. This is where, like, if I'm just trying to scream at walls or people or my bank account, and I'm not like, so I'm not screaming at God, put this in the blah 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 blah. God, change what these people, how we interact. God, put this wall somewhere else and create a door inside of it. So when I'm doing this holistic, so I'm noticing the horizontal, it gives me information, but instead of projecting that in a feedback loop, I take it up, and then the source loads it down into a different scenario. And this is where you hear the stories of Moses splitting the sea, because it's a map editor mode that you can access. So the little Moses goes with the stuff and says, Netflix, you need to produce a different scene here, and you need to split the sea. Otherwise, this show is going to suck. And the Netflix goes and splits the sea. So to you, working it from a horizontal level, screaming at the sea for it to open a pathway, it might be not effective. Trying to take a shovel and like dig your way out, or like build a boat and sail across the sea, that's possible. You can build a boat, you can work it. However, everybody, it's in your capacity to also work it top to bottom. And this is why people pray, because you need that alignment. Otherwise, things may get awfully hard and complex in the scientific materialism paradigm. Some food for thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you like this transmission. Give me a comment, give me a like, give me what you will. We're also having links to other content provided in the description, so you may want to check that out.